Hey, this is Mackenzie, and I wanted to talk to you guys about home birth. We have decided to have a home birth this time around. It was really well. Baby number 3 will be born at home, and I've had a lot of questions, not just on YouTube, but just in life in general. People being like, why on earth would you want to do that? And I just wanted to explain a little bit of the reasons why we chose home birth this time around and why we think it's a good fit for our family, and maybe give some people a few things to think about if they are deciding where to have their babies as well. So, my third pregnancy and my daughter, I had in the hospital, like very routine. We did with Cytotec and Cervidil, followed by Pitocin, followed by an epidural, followed by them breaking my water, followed by luckily a vaginal birth because I had like every risk possible for a C-section, but luckily I did not have to have a C-section. However, I was not thrilled at all with my birth experience. I had a very hard recovery. I had a very unpleasant staff in the hospital and a very hard time bonding with my child. Just my body was not ready. I did spend 45 hours in labor from start to finish. My body was not happy, and my baby was not happy when she was born. She had a hard time bonding, and it still is an issue even today. So, birth matters. My second child, because of the hospital experience we had the first time, we briefly considered home birth, but when we realized that my insurance would not cover a home birth, and we could not have to pay for anything in the hospital, we decided to go ahead and have another hospital birth. However, that time we did it with a midwife in the hospital and a doula. And so I labored at home for a long time, and when I got to the hospital, I was 9 centimeters. However, I did end up having to have my water broken after being at the hospital for about 4 hours at a 9 and nothing happening. To the hospital, my labor did stall, and so they broke my water, and luckily I had my son, no problems, and it was a fully natural delivery other than them breaking my water. And I was very pleased with the experience. I was happy, baby was happy, we got tons of bonding time. Everything went naturally, everything was good. So I was very happy with that. However, this time around, we decided to research home birth a little bit more and decide nothing's changed with the insurance at all. We could still have a baby in the hospital for free, but the experience and just everything that we know has led us to decide that we're just going to pay for a home birth out of pocket, and that is a choice we are making. So that is a little bit of a financial stretch. However, for most people, it is cheaper to have a home birth. If you don't have very good insurance, or especially if you have no insurance, home birth is a way cheaper option. But do not choose home birth only because of finances, one way or the other, because a home birth can be an amazing experience even if you have to pay more for it, which is what we're going to do. But if you're only choosing it for because it's cheaper, but you're really not comfortable with it, I would not recommend it. Since we decided to choose a home birth was because I do want to have an all-natural birth. I do not want to induce, and I do not want any pain medication whatsoever. Everything that I have learned after having one medicated childbirth and one natural childbirth is that I would never ever want to do a medicated childbirth again. The benefits of natural childbirth for me just highly outweigh any reason to get pain medication that's just temporary anyway, and then you still have to deal with recovery. So I've just decided that stuff like that is just not an option for us. We're having a natural birth. Even if we did go to the hospital, we would definitely be having a natural birth. But it's a lot easier at home. The temptation isn't even there. Labor is hard, and there will be a point where you don't want to do it, where you don't like, you don't like dealing with the pain, even though you know it's a good thing. The pain is a good thing. Good things are happening because of it, but it is hard. And if you have an opportunity to get pain medicine, it's really hard not to. And when other people around, no matter how supportive they are, they see you in that kind of pain, they want to give in too for you because it's hard on them to see it as well. So that was one reason. The other reason is I did have a natural birth with Josiah, but driving to the hospital was terrible. I don't know if I was a 9 when we got in the car or if it was the car ride that progressed me, but it was horrible. The worst part of my labor by far, even worse than the pushing or anything else, was riding in the car for 30 minutes to the hospital. And I just didn't like that at all. And then once I got to the hospital, my labor stalled, which is very normal to happen when you change locations and you go into a new setting. It is so common for your labor to stall. And then if your labor stalls in the hospital, a lot of hospitals have laws like if you don't progress at least 1 centimeter every 2 hours, they want to do a C-section. It's just easier for them and they can say, oh, you're not having a normal labor. So, but it is normal for your labor to stall when you go to the hospital, which isn't good for anybody. You don't like that. Nobody wants to be in labor longer than they have to be. And it's just, no. And then with hospital pressuring you to do other things, it's just not something we wanted to deal with at all. Having a water birth this time. With Josiah and our natural birth in the hospital, they actually had a big like jacuzzi tub where I could labor in, and I did for several hours, but I wasn't allowed to birth in it. And so for me, I loved the experience of laboring in the tub, and I definitely think that water birth could be a much more relaxing, pleasant experience, and that is something that we are able to do at home. So I'm very excited about that. I don't have to worry about waiting for anyone to get here or about how far am I? Should I go to the hospital or am I waiting too long to go to the hospital? Now I'm going to have a baby in the car or whatever is going on. I don't have to worry about it. With having 2 little ones already, childcare is an issue and they're not allowed in the rooms at most hospitals, or if they are, there has to be a designated person for them. At our house, while I probably still will have a designated person to be with my children in case they do get worried, they're still in the comfort of their own home. They can sleep in their own beds if it's the middle of the night. My husband and I are both here, so if my husband needs to take a break and go help the kids with something, he can do that. And it's just much more relaxing for everybody. Mommy doesn't have to be gone for a while. It's just a smooth transition and a smooth thing for the whole entire family, which is big because my other children do matter and I don't want to be away from them. Daughter was 15 months old when my son was born, and she actually witnessed the labor and delivery of my son, and she was a huge inspiration for me in that moment, and I hope that they can be present again. As long as they're not scared, then I want them there. If they started to get freaked out or something, of course I would want someone to take them out, but I just don't think that is going to happen. So also, I know where things are after baby is born. I can sleep in my own bed. I can get food. I can do what I want to do. There's no pressures of, oh, you can't eat. Oh, don't get up. Oh, you have to sit and sleep in this awful hospital bed. You don't have to do any of that. You're at your house. You can do what you want to do when you want to do it. And it's very nice. Also, no pressures of like getting your child shots and stuff. We do vaccinate, but I don't want my child taken away from me an hour after they're born to get poked and prodded and all this stuff immediately. That's just not what we want. And when you're at home, you don't have to worry about that. There's just no interventions or no pressure. I will say we are having a home birth midwife and we will have a doula. So if something happens, there is a qualified medical professional there. She knows what she's doing. She knows when to transfer if a transfer was necessary, which we hope and pray that a transfer wouldn't be necessary. But if it is, we're covered. We're okay. Like if something happens to make me more high risk, we will transfer. We're not going to risk my life or the child's life over this. However, I don't think that's going to happen. We're just very positive. Childbirth is not an emergency. It's not a horrible thing that you need to be cured of. It is natural to go through labor and be in pain, and it's natural to want to moan. It's natural to want to cry, but it's a good thing. It's an amazing thing, and it's so worth it at the end. And just for recovery alone and all the natural hormones that goes into it, I just couldn't imagine not having a natural childbirth. And after having two hospital births, one medicated, one natural, for me, it's just the next step is to have a home birth and to do things completely at home and do things our way and it be relaxed and it just be an awesome experience. And I believe that it will be. So if you guys have any other questions about home birth or concerns, or maybe I'll do another video about the whole process of everything that we're going to have and we're going to plan to do. Just let us know whatever you have questions or concerns about. And I'll just say, birth wherever you feel you should. If you feel most comfortable at home, if you're excited about being at home, definitely do it at home. But if you're scared about it, if you're nervous about it, if you're not going to be comfortable at home, then don't do it at home, because that is the biggest reason to do it, is to be comfortable. And if that's not how you're going to be, then it's just not a good situation. So anyways, with that being said, I will wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.